facilities which are at the stage were able to fully fulfill the Green Corridor. What infrastructure facilities are destroyed as a result of the latest overnight attack? Unfortunately, some of the drones hit on target, damaging port infrastructure, elevators, agrarian complexes, and agrarian enterprises. Everything that hypothetically could be involved in the whole system for loading grain and its shipment. As far as I know, there are 2 people injured. Yes, unfortunately, 2 drivers of trucks were injured. And of course, that the port infrastructure includes the parking lot of trucks and other vehicles involved in transporting of the grain. And from where the drones were launched this time, there were several sources, mainly barrage projectiles were launched this time from the Crimean Peninsula and also from the eastern coastline of the Azov Sea, which is a usual launching point. And they also attacked from Kursk to distract attention of the air defense units of Ukraine. The day before yesterday, that was from Primorsk-Akhtarsk. They launched drones from. Yes, when they attack southern regions, they launched drones from Primorsk-Akhtarsk, which is the eastern coastline of the Azov Sea, from Crimea. Maria Tarasova, Inter TV channel, if I'm not mistaken, this is the 5th overnight attack on the Danube area. Could you tell more about their tactics? Why do they use drones and not missiles? So we understand their target, but do you understand their tactics? Yes, over the last 5 days, this is the 4th attack. And generally, when it comes to the Danube River, they have attacked this area much more times. I don't remember the precise number, but you can find this information in our reports. Barrage projectiles are cheaper than missiles, and they cannot launch so many missiles. And they do understand that the Green Corridor is supported not by one facility, but several facilities. That's why they need massive attack using a big amount of projectiles. It is obvious that they have some lack of missiles comparing to the beginning of the full-scale invasion, and even with the period of blackout in Ukraine where they tried to attack energy infrastructure facilities. They feel the significant lack of missiles for such massive attacks. That's why they are now focused on producing missiles. Unfortunately, sanctions could not stop the operation of the military-industrial complex of Russia. They continue producing different devices, including missiles. And now they have a lot of drones that have been provided by Iran, and they are produced also on one of the enterprises that they are boast of. You mentioned that it was the new consignment of Iranian drones, and we can see the amount of we can see the remnants of the shot down drones, and we can see by marking that this is a new consignment of Iranian drones, and we can also see signs of producing drones on the territory of Russia because they have specific marking. Russian alphabet, which is different from even Slavic alphabets. Kogan intent. And as for the latest attacks of the Danube ports, did they use the airspace of Romania to trick air defense forces of Ukraine? No, they did not get into the airspace of Romania. At least we have not recorded any such cases. But the fact that one of the drones hit that territory, this is documented, and this information was officially communicated to the Romanian side. And yesterday, the Romanian party finally confirmed that there was the act of aggression against its territory. And I think that they will respond respectively at the diplomatic level. And one more question. Russia is, so to say, interested now in the Danube ports. How will you respond to that? Will you increase their defense units of that region? I understand that this is like secret information, but could you just briefly touch upon that? I think if we analyze all attacks, starting with their focus on this region, even following the results of our air defense units, you can see that they have already been strengthened. And every time air defense forces actively respond to the danger of our enemy, and we try to do everything possible to counteract enemy's activity at night. And you can see the results. So it was like 22 out of 25 and 25 out of 30 shot down drones. So this is quite a high rate. Of course, we would like to achieve 100%, but we should be realistic. And we should understand that even such percentage is a very high percentage when it comes to massive attacks simultaneously in different directions by different means. It is really very difficult to ensure such significant result in shooting down. When we read that there are several groups of drones, how many Shaheds are included in one group? The numbers are different. They also try to change their tactics. They used to use 3 Shaheds for one wave. They used to have 8 Shaheds for one wave. They can even change their grouping in the water area of the Black Sea for the protection, just trying to cover themselves. They use these maneuvers to trick the air defense system to decrease its efficiency. But all these methods are scrutinized by us to ensure the best response. As far as I understand, there is the main drone, which is the leader of the group. No, they're all the same. If the host allows, I would like to ask you questions not in relation with the topics of today's press conference. This is about the beaches in Odesa. They are open now. How the military assesses the situation? Could you comment upon that? The position of the military command is unchanged. We, at the very beginning, stated that this is dangerous, that the threats are there, and we cannot cover them to 100%. There is the mine danger, it is still there, and we can see also the activeness of the enemy's tactical aviation, and this means that they are still focusing on this region, and the activity of the enemy's aircraft means that there is still missile threat from air, from the sea. And if we analyze the places of strikes, quite often those were recreation zones, the zones on the seaside. And of course, that on the areas where they could land are fully protected, the access is impossible now, but we can see that at the Charkiv community and a citizen neglected the warnings, got to the territory and made a conclusion. Unfortunately, that person was killed. because that person was killed by mine during swimming. Everyone should understand if they go to the open territories, despite recommendations of local authorities, people sometimes even visit closed beaches because only some beaches were marked as the recreation places, but we can see that people still go to the open areas, and they don't understand that there is still danger because the bottom of the sea is not checked there or examined there, and we should remember about the safety measures, about the conditions of the martial law, and they are all aimed at preserving people's lives. We cannot bring citizens to liability if they neglect their own safety. So this is just their own decision. Tell us, please, when was that case in the Charkiv community? Several days ago. Like 3-4 days ago. And as for missiles, and that was about the missiles. Someone say that they try to accumulate them for autumn to attack our energy infrastructure facilities again. We can say that this is possible, but we cannot make any forecast. We are not fortune tellers. We have some analytics, and we use it for conclusions. We understand that people will try to find ways to put pressure on the whole Ukrainian population because they don't have successes on the front line, or so the situation is more or less frozen there for them. They cannot proceed at the front, and they can attack the home front. This is the usual tactics in the hybrid war. They try to have impact on the home front. They believe that this is the way to juxtaposition the leadership of the country and the population of Ukraine, and we can see this in their propaganda. Everything's brought to that. And so they can accumulate missiles for that, but there could be other plans. After every attack, we can see a lot of videos on shutting down drones, etc. Do you work with that, people? And of course, I think that you've noticed that we have not so many videos and photos as we used to have before. People perceived that as a show, and now people are more conscious, and I'd like to emphasize that. And we can see results of the special services who address every single case. And I would also like to say that they are more successful now. And we can see that there are not some videos showing defense forces, and the liability, accountability is still there. It could be even criminal liability because this is the disclosure of the whereabouts and movements of military units. Defense forces are also military units. And do you have a lot of cases of people brought to criminal liability? I have not prepared the numbers, but you can address to the State Security Service to get this information. And one more question. The colleagues have questions about the situation in the Charkiv community. What killed that person and how old was he? He was 30 plus. And as for the age, what was the reason of his death? The experts should be addressed. He got to the coastline waters for swimming, and the mine detonated, and the person was found dead. We do not know what explosive was the reason, what was the device that detonated, but I think that the criminal proceedings will establish all the facts. We should understand and we should remember that after explosion at Kakhovska HPP. There are a lot of mines, including river mines, rancor mines, that were brought from the defense line of Russians. And during first days, we saw a lot of them, and we just removed them. But then the current changed, the weather changed, and that could lead to the fact that they are now on the bottom. And during storms, during other natural changes, they could be brought to the coastline, and people should remember about that danger. Several weeks ago, and on one of the still closed beaches of Odesa, the divers found the device that looked like an anchor river mine. They reported accordingly. People were evacuated from water, and the divers examined the bottom. They did not find any suspicious objects, but they say that this device could be brought by the current to other part of the coastline, and we should remember that the safety, these people should remember about safety. And we can see on the internet and that the Romanians, they film sometimes attacks. Do you work with that side? And we have informed Romanians, and that was something new for our neighbors, and we could saw a lot of comments, a lot of filming in the social media, and they also published that in their mass media. We at the State Border Guard Services contacted with them. That was the awareness-raising campaign on behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, and we can see now the results. The Romanian border guard officers got the task, and if they see their citizens filming such events, they warn them about that. Thank you very much for being with us today. That was Nataliya Humenyuk, and this is all for today. Stay tuned.